So let's continue with the second part then of today's lesson. We are going to turn to our first dialogue. Usually, every lesson we will have at least one dialogue, possibly a few, more than one if they are very short. Our work with these dialogues will follow pretty much a similar pattern every time. The purpose is always to reinforce something that we have talked about. And this time it will be about phrases to introduce ourselves, to talk about where we are, what our names are, where we are from, and so on. But the dialogues also serve to expand our knowledge, to teach us a little bit more. And the work order for today's dialogue will be the following. So I will read it first, you listen. Then normally I will encourage you to read after me. Take your time, practice, read it again. Then I will give you a little bit of time. Very often there will be a few questions, sort of having to do with the text. They can be about the content or they can be about grammar. Today, I have a few questions mainly about grammar and expressions. Then I will give you a little bit of time. Sort of use it as you see fit. Go over the dialogue again. Make sure that you understand it. Read it again. That's obviously great practice. Make sure that there are no obvious sort of difficulties, nothing that you absolutely do not understand. Use the vocabulary list that you always find after the dialogue. And then also make sure that you can ask, that you can answer whatever questions there are. Okay? After you've had a little bit of time, we will typically talk. I will highlight certain comments, I will highlight certain things from the dialogue that are particularly important for us. And then to finish off, we will make sure that we can answer the questions. Okay? So for the first dialogue, simply listen first when I read. Hej, jag heter Patricia. Hej, jag heter Daniel. Varifrån kommer du, Daniel? Jag kommer från Australien. Och du? Kommer du från Spanien? Nej, jag kommer från Argentina. Jaha, vad talar du för språk? Engelska och lite svenska. Och spanska såklart. Jaha, jag förstår lite spanska, men jag pratar inte så bra. Det är ganska svårt. Arbetar du här i Sverige, Daniel? Nej, jag jobbar inte här. Okej, vad gör du då? Jag pluggar. Jag studerar svenska just nu. Det går bra. Please take your time, pause, read it again. That is very good. The questions that I have for today's dialogue. So the first thing that you do, you work with it on your own. Make sure that you understand. Look at the words. Look at the words. Then I would like for this dialogue to know the following things. When we want to ask where someone is from, we have learned that there are two ways. We saw this last time. In this dialogue, we have a variant using the question word varifrån. That is very nice. How could we vary this? What other choice do we have? Do you remember from last time? Take a minute or so. Number two, if we want to ask what languages someone speaks, we learned a phrase last time. In this dialogue, we find another way to ask what languages someone speaks. What is that way? And do you remember the way that we learned last time? So, asking about languages. Number three, please try to identify all the verbs that you find in the dialogue. Some of these we will mention, sort of what they mean, but as I mentioned last time, let's try to identify verbs from early on. The ones that we meet in our first lessons will always be in the present tense. Let's make sure that we identify them. Mark all the verbs. Number four, as a little bonus, try to identify two different types of questions. So questions, we looked at them very briefly last time, but without commenting. Let's see if you can find out. How can we ask questions in Swedish? What difference is there between the two different ways? All right, take a little bit of time, work with this, and then we'll have a few comments and we'll make sure that we can answer the questions.